So going to the first disease is known by the name Parkinson disease. So in the case of Parkinson disease, you might have heard about this disease, Parkinson disease. So in the case of a Parkinson disease, one important feature of the Parkinson disease is that it is a disease affecting our nervous system. There is a progressive degeneration of our nervous system. So it is, nervous system is the most important system that is helping our body for coordinating different activities of our body. So if the nervous system is not is working properly, that will be creating lot of problem, especially in the use of movement. So Parkinson disease is a progressive nervous system disease. What is the meaning of the word progressive? Progressive means gradually developing, not suddenly coming. So it will be taking several years. Through several years, the Parkinson disorder may be developing to its severity. So in the beginning, it will not be very severe. It will be only mild symptoms. But through a span of several years, that Parkinson disease can affect the person severely. So that is the meaning of the word gradually developing or progressive nervous system disorder, and that is affecting our movement, primarily our walking, running, and other kinds of movement like moving our hands, legs, or other parts of the body. So movement will be greatly affected. So the symptoms are starting very gradually. So I told you that it takes several years for the disease to reach its ultimate stage, final stage. Sometimes in the beginning there will be only a barely noticeable tremor. Tremor means shaking. In your next picture you can see that this is a typical situation of a Parkinson disorder, person with the Parkinson disorder. He will be exhibiting a lot of characteristics like that. There will be shaking of our arms, our body, legs, entire body will be showing some kind of tremor or shaking movements. Then another character is, he can see the main characters are listed as slowed movement. Slowed movement means the person may not be able to walk fast. So he'll be walking very slowly, very carefully, because he will not be feeling comfortable in walking fast. His body balance may not be proper. So that situation is known by the name bradykinesia. Brady means slow and kinesia means movement. So it simply means slow movement. Then another feature is that there will be rigid muscles. The muscles will be quite rigid, so that the flexibility of the muscle will be lost. That is an important problem in the use of this important problem in the use of this Parkinson disease. Then as you can see from the picture, the person may not be standing properly. The erect posture, that will be most of the time affected. The person will be slightly stooping forward, or there will be a forward bend. So that is impaired posture. The way we are standing is known by the name posture. That will be damaged, or that will be impaired. Impaired means a damaged or wrong posture, and our ability for balancing, that will be also lost. So these are some of the major problems or major symptoms that we can see. And then loss of automatic movements. Like automatic movements means when we are touching a hot object like a candle flame or something, we will immediately pull back our hand, and such movements are called automatic movements. And ability of our body to respond automatically will decrease. So that is another problem. Then there will be changes in the way the person is speaking. That will be problem. Then writing changes are there, because the hand is shaking, or tremors of the hand are there. The hand is vibrating or shaking all the time. The person may not be able to write properly, hold anything properly. So there will be a lot of even if it is affecting the movement, it is affecting the life of the person severely. So Parkinson disease actually a debilitating means slowly destroying. That is the meaning of the word debilitating. It is debilitating or slowly destroying the person's life. It is first affecting the physical life, then it will be also affecting the mental life, psychological life, family life. Everything will be destroyed, affected. So that is the feature of a Parkinson disease. Now we will see some more features of the Parkinson disease. Here you can see early in the disease, the most obvious character is shaking. So we told you, rigidity and slowness of the movement, difficulty with the walking, which we have also seen. Then at the intellectual level, the thinking will be affected. There will be behavioral problems will be occurring. Then in addition to this kind of symptom, there will be dementia. Dementia means a loss of memory. You have heard about this term dementia. In several films you have heard about such called dementia. And dementia is simply a loss of memory. And in addition, so the person may not be able to even identify his family relatives or other friends or neighbors. So there will be problem with memory, but long-term memory most of the time will be intact. It is the short-term memory, the recent memory, which will be mostly affected. Another problem is the depression and anxiety. Since the person is having this kind of problem, he will be quite worried, he will be depressed, and that depression and anxiety will be another psychological problem. So the physiologically person will be having a lot of difficulty, and this physiological difficulty always affect the mental mind in a severe way, and the person will be psychologically feeling not quite well. So there will be a lot of other psychological or mental problems there. Then in addition, you can see that there will be sensory problem, sleep problem, emotional problem. The person may get depressed, person may not be able to sleep. So all these kind of problems will be affecting the person. So that is one problem of the These are some of the problems associated with the Parkinson disease. And the cause of the Parkinson disease is actually not known. It's still unknown. Why the Parkinson disease is developing in some people, even though it is not caused by any bacteria or virus. The exact reason why this is developing in a few people is still not known. But it is believed that genetic factors are playing an important role. Those with a family member who was affected by Parkinson disease have a higher chance of developing that disease themselves. So the genetics seems to be playing an important role. Then environmental factors. Environmental factors means factors around us, the way we are leading, the type of food we are taking, the type of chemicals to which we are exposed. These are all environmental factors, and they are also affecting the development of this. So the exact reason why Parkinson disease is developing in a few individuals is not known, but the food habits, then the exercise, and the way the person is leading, and then the genetic history, and that is also affecting the some of the important reasons that can lead to the Parkinson disorder. Then there is also an increased risk in people exposed to certain pesticide. Among those who have had prior head injury, can be, for example, if some accident was there and the head was severely injured. And such people, the development of Parkinson disease may sometimes occur. But there is a reduced risk in tobacco smokers or who drink coffee or tea. And these are some of the findings which are not very well supported, but still people seems to think that people who are drinking coffee and tea also having less chance of developing Parkinson disease. Then another features of the Parkinson disease are also shown here. Here you can see stooped posture. Stooped means the forward bending. The person may not be standing erect or properly. Then the masked facial expression. The face will be having a different expression because of the rigidity of the muscles. The muscles, we won't be able to express our feeling quite properly because our muscles become quite rigid. So that rigidity on the muscles, especially on the facial muscle, can also affect the way the person is responding to the feelings. Then forward tilt of the trunk, you can see that how the person is standing. Rigidity of the back muscles are there. Then flexed elbow and wrist. See, the elbow will be always in this L shape. Similarly, the wrist also, there will be an L shape. And reduced arm swinging. The movements of the hands will be greatly restricted. Then the person may not be moving its hands quite often. So that is the meaning of the reduced arm swinging. Then on the legs slightly flexed. Flexed means bent. Bend, see it is slightly bent. And hips and knees. So the legs are slightly flexed or bent to forward. Then trembling of extremities. Extremities means legs and hands. That will be shaking. That is a trembling. So that is the meaning of the word tremor or trembling of the extremities. Stuffing short stepped gait. The person may not be taking long steps. Only very small steps, short steps will be taking. So the gait simply means a mode of walking. The person may be walking with shorter steps. We won't be here. So for covering a certain distance, he may be taking so much time. So he will be walking with smaller steps or shorter steps. So these are some other characteristic symptoms that we can see in the use of the Parkinson disease. Now going to the other internally, the motor symptoms of the disease result from death of cells in substantia nigra. There is a part of brain in our midbrain. The brain is divided into forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Out of that, in the middle portion of the brain, which we call the midbrain, there is a region called substantia nigra. It is an inner region in the middle brain. The cells present in this region and are showing a death. It is the presence of dead cells in the region of substantia nigra that is somehow associated with the development of this Parkinson disease. Another physiological finding we have found is that the amount of dopamine is a neurotransmitter, and the amount of this dopamine in this person may not be enough, especially in the regions of substantia nigra. Then the reason for this cell death is poorly understood. Why cells are dying in this substantia nigra is not known. So we don't have a proper understanding of why the cells are dying in substantia nigra or dying in the midbrain of the person. We do not have a proper understanding, but it involves a buildup of proteins in the Levy bodies. That means in the neurons present in the midbrain, there will be an accumulation or buildup of proteins or deposition of proteins and than the usual amount, and that deposition of proteins is turning into Levy bodies, and that is somehow responsible for the development of this Parkinson disease. So when Levy bodies or proteins are accumulating or depositing in the midbrain, and especially in the substantia nigra, that somehow is causing the development of Parkinson disease. Now, how we can diagnose this Parkinson disease? Basically by neuroimaging, like CT scan or MRI scan. So if in MRI scan, if we can find the deposition of these Lewy bodies or deposited accumulated proteins, then it is a sure confirmation that that person is having Alzheimer's Parkinson disease. Now the second disease is known by the name Alzheimer's disease. So in the case of Alzheimer's disease, it is also a similar disease, but only some in certain features it is different. Here also it is a neural disease or a neurodegenerative disease. Neural disease means disease affecting nervous system. Degenerative means destroying the nervous system. So this is the meaning of the neurodegenerative. And that starts also at the age of sometimes 50, 60, etc. And over a period of 10 years or sometimes 8 to 10 years, it will worsen and person will ultimately die. And it is a cause of 60 to 70% of dementia. Dementia, I told you, is that dementia is simply a loss of memory. The person may not be able to recollect or remember recent events, but most of the time the old memory or the long-term memory may somewhat remain remain unaffected, but the recent events like the what he has seen in the morning, he may not be able to recollect in the afternoon. So such things are known as the recent memory. And 60 to 70% of the memory loss that we are finding in old age people are usually caused by this Alzheimer's disease. So Alzheimer's disease is most of the time expressed as a loss of memory, and the most common early symptom is difficulty in remembering recent events. As the disease advances, symptoms can include problems with the language. Then sometimes he may not be able to, for example, a person who is very good in speaking 2 or 3 languages may not be able to speak in one language. His ability to recollect that language might have lost. Disorientation means if a person is going out and he won't be able to come back to his house because he can't identify the location of his house. So that is known as a disorientation. If any family member of you are affected, you may be able to understand how difficult it is to manage a person. There is a neighbor behind me, and they always keep the doors gate locked. The problem is that his father, he is having this problem. If he is going out, then and without anybody is knowing he is going out, then what happens is that he can't come, and it will be difficult to find him again. Then mood swings means the emotional problems will be the loss of motivation. As in the use of this Parkinson disease, when we are not able to do our daily activities properly, we will be psychologically and mentally severely affected. So these are known as a mood swings, loss of motivation, not managing self-care. What is self-care? Taking, brushing our teeth, taking bath, taking food at the time, and cutting nails. These are all part of our self-care, body care. Even a person is not doing this, that can affect the quality of his life. Then he will be having problems with the family members, behavioral issues are there, maybe getting irritated, maybe getting depressed. So as a person's condition declines, they often withdraw from family. That is another problem. When the severity of the disease is increasing, they will be becoming more and more silent. They will be talking less and less with the family members, and there will be a lot of depression, and the person may feeling isolated. So there will be withdrawal from family members and also from neighbors and other members in the society. So that means the person may feeling too much psychological pressure. He won't be talking with anyone. So such problems will be there. Gradually the bodily functions are lost. Ultimate bodily functions are lost means like ability to respire, ability to expire, expiration, circulation, respiration. These are all activities of the body. After some time, these activities are also lost, and that will lead to the death of the person. Although speed of the progression can vary, the typical life expectancy following diagnosis is 3 to 9 years. That is around within 9 years, most of the people may die because of Alzheimer's disease. Here you can see some of the symptoms associated with the Alzheimer's disease. We can find memory loss, changes in mood, misplacing belonging, for example keeping a phone or something somewhere and not able to find where I have placed them, hard to complete a familiar task, even a common task like a brushing your teeth. It's a simple thing, but if the person is not able to do it, that is a loss of a acquired skill. Social withdrawal there, poor judgment is there, won't be able to talk well, communicate. Then changes in vision will be there, confusion of the time. So for example, where I am, the person may not be able to identify that where I am now, what time of the day it is. These are all problems affecting the person. Now the cause of the Alzheimer's disease is poorly understood. Nobody knows. As in the case of Parkinson disease, still we don't know what causes Alzheimer's disease. About 70% of the risk is believed to be genetic. There is a strong genetic connection with many genes usually involved. And other risk factors are like head injury, depression, hypertension can also be sources of Alzheimer's disease. Now here, as in the case of Parkinson disease also, the presence of protein plaques and tangles, these are dead. For example, I told you that in the substantia nigra of the midbrain, in the case of Parkinson disease, we can find protein deposition. Similarly, here also protein depositions are dead cells are present in certain part of the brain. And a probable diagnosis is based on the history of the illness and cognitive testing and medical imaging, then blood test. So there will be MRI scanning, CT scanning, blood test will be taken, and after it is a very difficult process, because we can't properly distinguish. There is a little difference between Parkinson and some difference between Parkinson disease and Alzheimer's disease, but in the early stages may not be easy to distinguish between these two disorders. So examination of brain tissue is needed for definite diagnosis, because by examining the brain tissue, if you can find lot of protein deposits, then it is a sign that the person is having the Alzheimer's disease. The mental physical exercise, avoiding obesity may decrease the risk of Alzheimer's disease or AD. But evidence to support this recommendation is not so strong. Some people think that exercise and reducing or avoiding obesity can reduce Alzheimer's disease, but the findings are not strongly supported. So there are no medications or supplements that have shown to decrease the risk. So these are some of the features regarding the second disease known by the name Alzheimer's disease.